Hi, my name is Bryce Northup. I'm here to touch on special education, history of special education, and several important court cases that happened before and after 1970. Now, one thing I want to start on is in 1840s, I believe there was a law mandating compulsory education, which means education for all students, which was important for education in general. So, I mean, it felt like it belonged in here. But then something that kind of backset special needs is BEATTIE versus Board of Education. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. In 1919. Now, special needs students were actually expelled from school due to facial abnormalities and drooling. The students themselves, they were perfectly fine, but teachers and some of the other students were complaining about the physical conditions causing them to nauseate, which was, like I said, it's a backpedal on that, but it's important to note that this was how things were going in 1919. And then something else I want to touch on is the creation of the NARC, which stands for National Association for Our Citizens. And this was about 1950, I believe, where I believe it was about 21, 22, 23 individual groups coming together and helping push towards benefits and everything that needed for special needs students. Now, in the 1970s, which was actually a pretty big time for special education, one is in the Mills versus the Board of Education for the District of Columbia. Now, this ruling made it unlawful in DC and eventually around the world to deny individuals access to publicly funded educational opportunity, no matter if they have learning disabilities, mental disabilities, or behavior issues. You cannot deny them that right. And then Section 504 of the Rehabilitation came out in about 1973. And this had two big things that you still hear about a lot. You hear a lot about Section 504, of course, but you also hear a lot about FAPE, which is Free Appropriate Public Education for All, and LRE, Least Restrictive Environment. Now, FAPE is a civil right, and it's kind of twisted into the 14th Amendment as well, which requires schools to provide students with disabilities special education and related services at the public expense, because that is a student that needs education. They should not be denied that, no matter what issues they may have. And then there was the Education for All Handicapped Children Act of 1975, which said between the ages of 3 and 21, you are required to get educated and funded by the state, which is why there are some students like go beyond high school in special needs. So like we have post-secondary, so from like 18 to 21, 22, they still receive some help. And another thing that came up in 1982, which was a test that came out to help redefine FATE, which is a two-part test. This is questions that asking you if the school fulfilled those things, procedures that are later defined in the IDA, which of course came out in October 30th, 1990, which was signed into law by George W. Bush, which had focused on the 6 pillars of FAPE, LRE, IEP, evaluation, parents/student participation, and procedural safeguards for all the participants. And IDA once again reauthorized in 2004. Now, there are a couple of resources I would like to talk about that would help. There is, of course, a book called Teacher's Guide for Special Education. This will help parents and teachers just get a brief look into what is all this going on. It defines the terms very simply. There's not a lot of legalese, which is nice. There's also something called, specifically for Texas, where I live, Texas Parent to Parent, which has links to several laws and regulations regarding all this in special ed. And it's literally parents posting this to other parents to help everyone understand the laws and everything regulated and guaranteed to them and their children. And then there is the Landmark Outreach, which is of Law Blog, which has the latest changes in special education, so you can be able to keep up to date with everything going on. Once again, thank you for listening to me. My name is Bryce Northup, and I hope you enjoyed this video.